The moment the uniformed officer stepped into the narrow aisle of the first-class cabin, the air changed. Conversations thinned into uneasy silence, the hum of the engine suddenly louder, heavier, as if the plane itself sensed what was about to unfold. A black teenage girl sat by the window, hands folded tightly in her lap, eyes fixed on the clouds beyond the glass, unaware that in seconds she would become the center of a moment that would test dignity, power, and the quiet strength of a father's love. Before the story goes any further, take a second. If you believe in kindness, fairness, and second chances, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. The girl had boarded early, her boarding pass scanned without issue, her seat paid for weeks in advance. First class wasn't a luxury to her, it was a necessity. She was traveling alone for the first time in her life, flying across the country to spend the summer with her mother after a difficult year marked by whispered doubts and moments where she felt unseen. Her hoodie was simple, her sneakers clean but worn, and nothing about her appearance screamed wealth or privilege. Yet she sat there calmly, trying to look braver than she felt, believing that once the plane lifted off, the hardest part would be over. The officer approached with a stiff posture and an unreadable expression, his presence immediately drawing attention from nearby passengers. A few people glanced up from their phones, others pretended not to notice, but everyone felt the tension. The request came swiftly, coldly, and without compassion. He questioned her seat, her right to be there, suggesting there had been a mistake. The words themselves mattered less than the tone, the assumption behind them, the way her heart dropped as confusion turned into fear. She searched for logic in the moment, wondering what she had done wrong when she had followed every rule. Her hands trembled as she reached for her boarding pass again, offering proof as if proof had not already been given. Memories rushed in from past moments at school, in stores, on sidewalks, where she had felt the same pressure, the same need to justify her existence. Around her, the cabin remained painfully quiet. No one spoke up. No one intervened. The silence felt louder than any accusation, pressing down on her chest until breathing felt like work. The officer insisted, and the word "remove" hung in the air like a threat. Tears burned behind her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She thought of her father then, the man who had taught her to walk tall even when the world tried to bend her. He was busy, always traveling, always in meetings, but he never missed her calls. With shaking fingers, she typed a short message, not dramatic, not angry, just honest. "Something is wrong. They're trying to make me leave my seat. I don't know what to do." Miles away, in a glass-walled office overlooking a city that never slept, her father's phone vibrated on a polished desk. He was in the middle of a high-level meeting, the kind where decisions shaped markets and futures. When he saw his daughter's name, everything else faded. He read the message once, then again, feeling a familiar ache tighten his chest. He knew that fear. He had lived it. He had built his life, his company, his success to make sure his child wouldn't have to feel it too. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't panic. He simply stood, excused himself, and made a call that carried more weight than anyone on that plane could imagine. As the CEO of the airline's largest corporate partner, his voice was recognized, his concerns taken seriously. He described the situation with precision, not emotion, demanding accountability and clarity. Policies were checked. Records were pulled. Cameras were reviewed. The truth surfaced quickly and undeniably. The girl was exactly where she belonged. Back in the cabin, minutes stretched painfully long. The officer's confidence wavered as information filtered through his earpiece. His posture softened, confusion replacing certainty. Flight attendants exchanged glances, their faces reflecting a mix of relief and discomfort. Slowly, the realization spread that a grave mistake had been made. Not a simple misunderstanding, but a moment shaped by bias, assumption, and unchecked authority. The decision came swiftly after that. The flight would not depart. Procedures had been violated. A line had been crossed. The officer stepped away, and the girl remained seated, her heart pounding, her breath shallow. Around her, passengers shifted uncomfortably, some suddenly interested in their laps, others staring with a new awareness. The silence broke, not with applause or speeches, but with a quiet respect that hadn't existed before. When her father called her moments later, she held the phone to her ear, tears finally spilling freely, not from fear now, but from relief. She wasn't alone. She had never been alone. The plane eventually emptied, the flight cancelled, schedules disrupted, inconvenience spreading like ripples across water. Yet none of that mattered compared to the lesson left behind in that cabin. The girl walked off the plane taller than she had boarded it. Not because the world had changed in an instant, but because she had seen what it meant to stand firm, to speak up, even when your voice shakes. She had learned that dignity is not granted by seats or status, but defended